Hey everybody, it's Tony Wolfe. Ow! Welcome to an edition of Awaken Your Warrior Within.com. We have an interview with bestselling author Mr. Michael McDonald. Michael, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Tony, thanks so much for having me.
Good. This is actually take two. We did this interview already and I forgot to press record. So thanks for hanging in there, my friend.
Hey, life happens. It's no problem at all.
So, I knew Michael 20 years ago, probably 20 years ago. We worked at the same company, and I always saw him as such a happy person, professional, always willing to help people. And last week on Facebook, I saw a post congratulating Michael on the release of his new book on walking away from depression. And I was a little bit surprised to hear that someone like you that I thought was always so positive would ever experience anything like that. So can you tell us, what happened? Why did you write the book?
Yeah, thanks so much. So, that's the thing about depression is that it affects everybody. So statistics show us that 1 in 5 people suffer from depression. And I think chances are it's either affecting you or somebody you love right now. And so for me, it's affected a lot of people in my family. And I've been doing a lot of walking and volunteer work with the Bruce Trail. And so I kind of made the connection that walking was actually healing for me and for others that I spoke with. And so I decided to put this little book together.
That's amazing. So how's the response been so far? I mean, the topic of depression, it's not something that people always talk about. Were people surprised that you wrote this?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people were surprised, saying, "Hey, I had no idea you were working on this," or "I had no idea this was something that affected you." And so mostly a lot of surprise, but then lots of gratitude followed that almost immediately for people saying, "Hey, your courage gives me courage to come forward, and your courage gives me reason to read the book and to try and move forward." So yeah, you know what? It was this fantastic energy that kind of passed back and forth that I'm so happy I did it.
Yeah, I feel that energy even over Facebook, reading the posts, and I've seen some of the comments that people have sent you. Now, one of the questions I have for you is, how did you know that you were depressed?
Yeah, so there's lots of different symptoms of depression. I mean, for me, typically I'm always like a pretty high energy kind of person, but I started to realize for myself, and it's different for everyone, is that yeah, like lack of energy for me, and feeling like a lack of control over life, maybe a little bit, or just not loving yourself as much as you normally would. And so when you start to notice those things and realize that, this doesn't feel like me. And I was lucky enough to be able to recognize it before it got serious and get treatment. And for me, that was through walking and exercise.
That's beautiful. We knew each other well years ago. Then we lost contact with each other. And what Michael didn't know was that during that time, I had suffered some pretty serious depression. I battled with it for years, and since then I've written a blog. I have a book out, and so I've tried to do a lot of release and healing through that. But I know that when I was going through depression, Michael, I didn't even know that's what it was. I was so tired all the time. I started withdrawing from my family a little bit, all little details I didn't want to look at the bank account, things I would kind of put off, maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow. And the thing you said about not feeling like yourself, that's really what I began to wonder. I remember I woke up one morning and asked my wife, what did I used to be like when I married you? Because I don't even remember. I just felt so blah all the time. Did you go through anything like that of sort of putting stuff off? I think you said a little bit about being overwhelmed sometimes.
Yeah, no, the feeling of overwhelmed. I know the lack of energy was really pronounced for me. That's how it manifested, I guess, mostly for me because, but that's the thing about depression. That's why it's so important to talk about it. Is that people can get lost in it, and I was lucky enough that mine was not as severe as what it sounds like you went through, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But you know what? You lose yourself. You lose a little bit of yourself, and you have to reach out to others to try and get yourself back sometimes.
So I think, are you saying like what message would you have for people right now? They're watching this and you go, you know what, I can identify with that. Either I was depressed, or I imagine a lot of people right now in today's society. I mean, there's so much negativity on the news, and there's social media coming at us, 24 hours a day. And I think it's very easy for people to get overwhelmed. What message would you have for them if they're watching right now and they're connecting with you and they're saying, Michael, yeah, I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah. So firstly, I want to say that if you're ever feeling suicidal, the most important thing to do is to call 911. I mean, that's a serious thing that you need to get to speak to someone right away. And I just want everybody to know that you need to do that if that's how you're feeling. Otherwise, I think if you have someone that you can trust, that you can talk to about feeling depressed, and again, sometimes depression is gradual. You slowly slip into it, and then you slowly come back out. Other times, it's like walking off a cliff. You feel great, and all of a sudden, you just boom, you're way down. So everybody's a little bit different, but it's about, if you feel like that's you right now, then yeah, start talking to people. Do a little bit of research and see. I mean, obviously, for me, my advice and the point of this book is saying that, you know what, walking is healing. It's an effective treatment for depression. And so if you can just force yourself, sometimes you don't feel like even getting up off the couch or getting out of bed, the whole world seems overwhelming. But if you can just push yourself just a little bit, just to go out for a tiny little walk, I promise you the change of scenery and the way that your body will, feel when you start taking in the oxygen. And it's also a nice change of scenery. And by that, I mean that sometimes when you're stuck in a room or a house or a workplace, a change of scenery you start noticing, hey, there's actually birds outside, or hey, the sun is there, or you meet other people, and it's just a whole multitude of reasons why you need to get out.
Well, I'll tell you, when I started getting out of my depression, actually movement and exercise was one of the big things. See, I had some health problems, and that was one of the reasons I got depressed, and I had to stop. I had to give up a lot of things I was doing. But as I recovered, I sort of made myself go out. And the one thing I've learned is that the times that I don't feel like moving at all, those are the times that I have to get out and move. And so I've done a lot of talk myself about walking, and I go with my dog. My wife and I did, we took a week last couple of summers ago, and we did the Bruce Trail. And when you said you were involved with the management of the Bruce Trail, that was like, it's amazing how the world connects. You haven't seen someone for 20 years, and then all of a sudden you see them on Facebook, and you've both written books sort of about this topic. You've both, loved the Bruce Trail. It's really amazing the way the world works. And what it keeps teaching me is you got to reach out. What you said, reach out to people, because you never know. You might connect with someone who's going through the exact same thing, and you might actually help them. Yeah. But would you say, Michael, that this experience, has it been a healing process for you at all?
Absolutely. So I think one of the keys to like fighting off depression, so to speak, is to have gratitude and to help others. Like for me, those are the two kind of cornerstones of feeling great. And so putting this book out there and having people respond well to it, it's given me gratitude for their courage to come to me and say, hey, I'm suffering and this is going to help me. And also, it's a great feeling knowing that I did some small thing that hopefully will help somebody else.
So was that sort of your mission? What was your mission? What was your mission when you started? What would you ideally wanted to have you accomplished from this?
Yeah, so I guess my mission was that I'd witnessed a lot of different people in different times of my life that were suffering from depression. It was to offer up the gift of encouragement in the form of a book in this case, but it's to say that, hey, you're not alone. You don't have to suffer from depression. And I think I found a treatment that is really easy and free and natural and something that you can take advantage of. That's
awesome. So maybe you'll be hiking with some viewers next summer on the Bruce Trail. That would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
I know my wife and I were going to join you. We went on the hike. It was tougher than we thought, but it was so much fun, and it made us feel so alive afterwards. I mean, I realized that I was tied to my phone, and going on that trip made me realize I could turn it off for 11 hours and then not even worry about it. Looking down, seeing the scenery and the nature. I always find that there's so much there's energy, there's positive energy in nature. And so would you say that there's a difference for someone between walking, let's say, on a treadmill at home and getting out on the Bruce Trail?
Yeah. So firstly, I mean, any kind of movement that you can do is great for your body. So if for you, the thought of going on the treadmill is something that motivates you, then I would encourage you to do that. But for me personally, I really strongly believe in the healing power of nature. And so if you can combine those two things, which is what you do when you're on the Bruce Trail, the benefits of walking that your body gets, but the benefits that your heart and your soul get from walking amongst the trees and the forest and thinking about all the other people that traveled on that trail and the connection with the wildlife. And I think it's so important. So for me, walking on the treadmill, that's cool and that's good and it's important to get your body moving. But if you have the energy to get out there and get on the Bruce Trail and do a walk, you'll be so happy you did it.
Now, just real quick, if someone wanted to go on the Bruce Trail, how would they get started? How would they find information about it?
Sure. So if you go to www.brucetrail.org, there's maps up there that you can actually download and find access points to the trail. So in this local section, there's over 60 different access points all the way along the escarpment. And it's just a matter of finding one that's close to you. And just really simple Bruce Trail talk, but blue blazes mean you're on a side trail, and white blazes mean you're on the white trail, on the main trail. So,
oh yeah, those blazes bring back memories. Those blazes bring back memories. So just a couple other quick things. So one is, let's say that someone's never been outside, never been in the wilderness. The Bruce Trail, is it going to freak them out, or are they going to be okay? Like, is it climbing mountains or what?
Yeah, so the Bruce Trail slogan is close to nature, close to home. And so in southern Ontario, where we happen to live right now, there's nothing serious in terms of wildlife where you're going to get eaten by bears or poisonous snakes or those kinds of things. And to be honest, section of the Bruce Trail are actually on roads within the city. So I don't think people will be freaked out. I think it's a great way to get back into the forest. And I think you'll be surprised, and very happily surprised, that once you get on the Bruce Trail, although you might only be a few blocks away from the city, how far away you actually feel.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Because we really felt like we were in the middle of nowhere, and it was probably just a 5-minute walk to the next road.
Absolutely.
So the other question I want to ask you is this. How did this all come about, this project? Now, I know for myself, I'd been thinking about writing a book for many, many years, at least 20 years. And it wasn't until I was almost 50, and something about the thought of hitting 50, and I hadn't done it yet. I was like, when are you ever going to do it? So I set a goal of saying, before I turn 50, this book is going to be out and published so I can tell my kids that I did this thing. For you, what was it? Was there some moment in time or some event that said, that's it, I got to do this?
Yeah, so it was through social media, which we kind of talked about at the beginning, where I saw a former colleague that had just released his own book. And I thought, that guy's super talented, and I'm sure if he can do it, that I can do it. And so I started to I just kind of made the decision. I mean, it's been a bucket list item of mine for a long time. Like I've always wanted to write a book. And so this was something that I cared about. It was something I was passionate about. And it just made sense and all came together.
That's super. Congratulations. Actually, I'm just laughing because I remember just a few months before I made the final commitment, we were at Chapters and my wife and I saw Ty Domi on a book signing tour. And he was so cool, and we went up there and got pictures, and autographs with him. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool to do? I actually did a book signing, but I also thought, I love Ty Domi and stuff, but if Ty Domi can write a book, then I know I can write a book. So if people are thinking about doing this, Michael, like, are you a superstar author? Have you taken this in school?
No. So I was a graduate of McMaster University with humanities and history specifically, but not a superstar author, not a superstar writer. I had a fiction book that I've been working on since like 2008 that I still is still a work in progress. But this is something that I believe that if you have a passion for something, that it's important that you share that passion. So I think we all have gifts in life, different gifts, and we have to share them with each other to move along in this journey. And so I think that if you have a passion, just chase it, go after it, do some brainstorming, write some things down. If it's not writing for you, maybe it's music, so for some people it's dance, whatever it is that creatively fires you up, you can share your gift with others.
Okay, perfect. So just to let everybody know, I will put up on our blog on the site, awakenyourwarwithin.com. I'll put a link to Michael's book, also to his Facebook page. And Michael, is it okay if people reach out to you with questions or anything about your book or your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be my great pleasure to help answer any questions they have, for sure.
Awesome. So I know that I had seen on Facebook there was something about hashtag and a little bit of a mission. So can you tell us, can you wrap this up? What would you love to see? Now, you've accomplished your mission of getting the book out. You've helped someone. What would you like to see going forward? Ideally, in a perfect world, what would you like to see come from this?
Yeah. So basically, what I wanted to do with this book was to help people get out walking and start to feel better. But the other part of it was about creating a community. And so I created the hashtag walking away. And so the goal here is that people can go out for a walk, throw up a picture or a tweet or a post with the hashtag walking away. And really the goal there is to start to gain strength from people sharing their journey. So as an example, maybe one day, maybe you wake up, you're feeling really low energy, you don't feel great about yourself, you're feeling a little bit depressed. Imagine you can go on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, look at the hashtag walking away and see other people are out there that posted that day that had gone for a walk and gained some strength and some courage from that to try and move forward. So I'm hopeful it creates a community of supportive people that will get out walking and share their journeys with each other.
Well, Michael, I want to thank you for coming on. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I want to not only commend you for having the courage and the strength to bare your soul to people and to come out and to help people like this, because depression isn't something that we necessarily talk about all the time. But also just for being a great example of a human being and paying it forward and trying to help others. And I think if the world has more people like yourself who aren't afraid to just reach out and try new things and reach out to others and help them, I think that the world as a whole we can do some great healing, because I think we need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for having me on, and thanks for interviewing me, and thanks for doing what you're doing. And I know that your blog is helping a lot of people, so thanks so much for letting me be a part of it.
All right. Well, listen, hopefully this recording worked, and we won't be doing take number 3.
Awesome.
Right, so,
well, every chance to talk to you is great, so I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Tony.
all right. Listen, have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. I look forward to putting hashtag, what was it? Walk away from depression?
Walking away. Yeah, you got it.
Walking away from depression. All right. So next time I go out for a walk, which will be tomorrow with my dog,
Okay.
Hashtag walking away from depression. All right.
I'll look for it, man. Thanks so much.
All right. Good night, everybody. This is Tony Wolfe, Michael McDonald signing off.
Cheers.